Are you the first in your family to accomplish any first? It could be graduating first, buying a car first. Well, if this is you we're speaking about, join the conversation. This is YouthXConversations, and I am your host, Lula Odiba. The youth of 1976 fought for a lot for us to have this freedom. And joining me are some of the best people to have this conversation with us, because this is what we believe in right here at Nedbank, an open dialogue to better our futures. Talk about what we're facing today so we can fix it tomorrow. Can I get an amen? Amen. Hey guys, how y'all doing?
Good, thanks yourself.
Good. My name is Lula Odiba. I'm a 27-year-old queer, young, long, tall drink of swag. Wow. I'm a radio presenter, TV presenter. I'm a voiceover artist. I'm a DJ, many, many things. And I'm also the first in my family in my own right. Who are you?
Thanks, Lula. I'm Zain Arif, Nedbank, look after sponsorships. I am a 34-year-old. I am a dad. I'm passionate, driven, hardworking, and playful as well.
Oh, I love it.
Awesome. I'm Norata Matsibela, 33 years old. I come from a small town in Mafikeng with big dreams. I love all my roles. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a sister, friend, aunt. And even my role here at Nedbank, looking after young talent. Those are all opportunities for me to show up for others, and that's my passion.
Incredible.
And hi, my name is Mpho. I look after the digital space for Africa regions for the entire Nedbank. So yeah, that's me, very vibrant. Anything you see on the app, when you're in Lesotho, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, you're looking at me.
Can I just say we're all going to be having a conversation after this. I need all of y'all numbers. You guys are all important. And I can imagine you guys are all firsts in your family, which is what today's episode is about, right? Zain, I'll start with you. What are you the first? What kind of milestone did you have first in your family?
My first milestone was actually university and graduating. First in my family, I'm a double graduate at the age of 21.
Come on.
So it was tough. But that's my first.
Yeah.
Graduation, university, and...
Yeah.
I'm a chartered accountant. That's the first in my family.
Wow.
I think each generation has a fair share of firsts. And I definitely share a lineage of pioneers. So yeah, we all write our own news stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can all relate to education here. I was also the first to be degreed. And then I'm into buying a house, buying a car. Lots of first, and yeah, I think it's actually a privilege for those of us that actually, but
yeah,
I'm one of those.
Yeah, it's so interesting because when I was selected to have this conversation about first, I really thought about it. I was like, what am I the first in? I'm not the first radio presenter in my family. My dad is an iconic radio presenter. His name is Eddie Zondi. And I know wherever he is, he's looking down at me with pride. So in terms of being a broadcaster, I'm not the first. In terms of being a graduate, my mom is doing her doctorate this year. She had her first degree way before I was even born. So that's not it. Buying a house, again, my mom. Other things. But I figured out what I'm a first at.
What is
I'm the first person to buy a sports car, ladies and gentlemen. When I leave my house, it goes... And speaking of first, it must be really difficult because I remember my mom saying, Hore, when she was trying to get her degree, she had her baby on her back, literally trying to study. I can imagine how difficult it is. Like already you're poor, circumstances don't favor you, and now you're trying to do something that hasn't even been done before. I want to talk about support structures in our respective homes in being the first to do whatever. You said you're a two-time graduate by the age of 21. What was your support structure like in your household?
I mean, my support structure was my parents first and foremost. It was always behind my back, making sure that I was sorted, making sure that I had and I was equipped with everything that I needed. And it's never a point where I was short of anything. It was lean on us when you need us, but when you don't, you still know that we're in the background.
Yeah.
And it helped me to the point where I was able to achieve what I've achieved.
I think on my end, I mean, family, but definitely to those that are also enjoying our conversation, our support structure is not always a sophisticated machine behind you. It's someone that just believes in you. It doesn't have to be family. It really can be a teacher at school, someone in your church, someone that just shows up and holds you accountable for the goals that you have for yourself. So, a support structure of your grandmother, that single parent household, is as solid as any. and also just forces you as a first in family to now be the support structure for others that come after you and your family.
I'm a Gogo and Kulu raised child.
Yeah.
So you can clearly know, like every time, I come back from school and my grandmother's already waiting for me to say, hey, I never used to cook at all because my grandma used to say school first. And I think him and my grandmother we actually did the best for me. Unfortunately, my grandfather passed away when I was still in grade 11. However, those words kept ringing in my ear up until I actually reached that milestone that he actually wanted me to see. But yeah, those were my two icons to be.
Yeah. And like, what was it like just having your grandmother there and not one of the strongest pillars that were there as well? Your granddad not being present for these milestones for you?
Oh my word, it was the most difficult years of my life. I think my matric year was the worst, if you can say that.
Because grade 11 is very tender. That's make or break year. Okay, I want a matric, but grade 11 is make or break year.
I remember there was a time where I thought, will I make it? And then the spark just came back and I just knew what I had to do. And I went on, and I remember that matric year, school fees was an issue. So that was one of the biggest issues that I had. And then I had to narrate to my grandma. She said, this is why we need to write to the school master for them to actually give us, leeway for me to actually finish my matric. And it happened. And yeah. And I was on that paper. I remember we used to go into the newspaper with you.
That's your combination.
And Lady Fee. Before it was effective. So your name was
just your
there.
And your
name was there. And when you saw that bracket with your name, it meant something. Yeah. Exactly. So yeah.
And everything.
So yeah.
Yeah. Are we all like, do we all come from distinctions? I got 379s, guys. I don't want to even mess around. I got 379s. I was so mad. I'm like, we're taking it back for remark. They came back 79 still. So technically, I don't have distinctions. But those who know.
You know.
And I love that we're speaking about support. And with, platforms like this, I want to get real deep and talk about the whispers and the discouragements, right? Remember, being first in your family means that you're topping your siblings, your cousins, some people who might even, your neighbors, people who deserve, that feel like they deserve the same things. Let's talk about the hate that came with being the first in your family.
I'm privileged to say I didn't have any, but I do think it's support structure that keeps you away from the noise. And I think the noise was definitely there. But it's just to almost focus on those that are in your corner, that share in your joy, share in your success, and really just keep your head focused on what you know is your goal. But yeah.
So you never had cousins who would say, ooh, she thinks she's
Berta. I think my mother was shielding me from, we won't visit this cousin this holiday, we won't visit this aunt.
Wow.
I think she was just trying to make sure that I'm in a good mindset to get the goals that I want to reach.
Zayn.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm not gonna say there was hate.
Okay.
But there's always, like you said, you're the first, so there's that, is he gonna make it or is he not? But let's see if he does, because if he doesn't, I'm next in line. And then it's on me. So it was more of me saying, listen, I can't afford to have that happen. I'm carrying a name behind me and I'm carrying the support behind me. So I'm not just doing this for myself.
Yeah.
And it was that hate and it was that kind of indecisiveness from us.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I was going to make it or not. That actually drove me to say, I'm going to make it.
Some people's drive is a lot of people's pressure. So I want to commend you for looking at it as drive instead of pressure, because any moment you could have crumbled. Yeah. Are you the firstborn by any chance?
I'm not actually. I'm the youngest in the family.
Whoa.
So
So you're the youngest who became the first?
Became the first, yeah. And I was in school. I didn't have the distinctions next to my name. I didn't have the bracket next to my name. I was of the newspaper era as well. Going to the Star the night before and getting that paper and you're checking names. And it was, unfortunately, for whatever hate there was and whoever brought it towards me, they still till today don't have the opportunity to clap hands and say,
whoa. And how does it feel? Like, does it hurt you or are you indifferent about it?
It doesn't hurt me because it means absolutely nothing to me. My successes was not done for everybody else, but for the people who made sure that I was able to get there. And for myself to show myself that I'm actually worth something and I can actually do it.
These are the perks about having brown eyes. You see, when you have brown eyes, you have this kind of spindy. Let's talk about your hate or your non-support and the murmurs that came with being the first in your family.
I don't know. I can call them a cargo
Yo.
of hate. And, yeah, I know. And I think it's because of the pillar that my grandfather was, and especially towards the entire family and the extended family. So when you are that firstborn, I'm actually a firstborn grandchild.
That's what I'm very sure. So
Yeah, the pressure is so everyone follows me. So at the time when everyone was looking to say, will she? Will she? And then you'll get all those rumors, people will be telling you, people are saying you're not actually at Pretoria. You're actually at some cuckoo somewhere with a guy.
Go for
all those things. Yeah. And I tended to be thin at the time. So I was very, very thin when I was still at school. And then,
So everybody was like,
everybody was, But then, at home, that's the safest place where you can go back and, sit down and don't listen to anything. You know what you have to do? Just do it.
yo,
And I knew that because I was the first one and the first, grandchild, I had to be an example. And it was just that actually kept me going. And till today, it never goes, Casimus, it's real. And then even if you can go out, you always have to go back and, visit, but you can still, it's there. You can feel it in your back.
yeah.
It's always alive. But we move on. And those are the things that keep us going, that encourage us. And and here we are.
Sure.
So,
We cannot have this conversation without mentioning the people that paved our ways, which is, of course, the uprising of 1976. Youth Day is right around the corner, and we are young, and later we won't be anymore. But fact remains that those people sacrificed their lives so that we can have even a smudge of possibilities that we do today. I was born in 98. 76 was way before I was born. So the people that paved for the way for me were my parents. So whenever I think about overcoming and triumphing, my first thought is not the 1976 uprising as much as I recognize and appreciate what it has done. Is it the same for you? Like, what kind of impact does that youth of that year have in your life and your striving to be the first in your family?
So on my end, a very good story to tell. My mother was the matriculant of 1976.
Get out.
Is insane. And she tells the story in different ways, but the one I want to share now is around, that June time when the chaos and the revolution actually, took place, and they all had to be sent, because she lived in a resident type accommodation. They all went back home, and she told me between June and December, she self-taught herself the curriculum and studied. And all the friends and the community, there was uncertainty as to, will they even write that exam? I mean, surely not. Those communities affected won't write the exam. She said, if there's a chance, I want to be prepared. They got the call to say, if you want to sit, you can come sit. They hadn't been told June to December. And she sat for that exam. She topped the class. She went on to do a BSc, and it inspires me.
What's your mama's name?
Dikeledi Muk-
Dikeledi, what's up? Your daughter speaks great English because of you, my lady.
So it means a lot.
The 1976 uprising, did it any influence or shape your first in family standard or status?
Definitely. So I think I can actually relate to that. So where I'm born in Soweto is actually the theatre machine street. So theatre machine was staying up the street. So him and my mom were actually they were 13 years old. He was a bit senior at the time. She was also telling us that, I remember when they went up Morris Isaacson and went down this
Morris Isaacson.
went down the street up until Orlando and all of those things where that happened. And actually, when she came back and my grandfather said to her, you are going to be in so much trouble. And then that's when and they had planned, apparently, imagine as a 13-year-old girl. I mean, Hector was 13 years at the time also. And they were already preparing to say that they were going to exile, whatever. And apparently someone leaked the story and everything. So she always says to me, you know, if it wasn't for your grandfather, I could have been a parliamentarian.
She could have gone to Robben Island and she could have been a big story today.
And she said no. So yeah, so it's so for me it's actually that and you know, waking up every day, going to school and passing that house and going past Morris Isaacson and you know a taxi passing by the June 16 memorial is those things that we actually we look at it in such a light
Trivial way.
Because we know when we just pass it, but to others it was something that's very significant, although we hadn't experienced it, you know, in real life. But yeah, it did actually have that influence and the shape in my life because it's still in my, you know, my mom will always tell me, okay, you better chill. So yeah, it actually does. So I'm actually grateful for those things, you know, the braveness and all of those. But yeah.
Yeah. I want to talk about your guys' favorite accomplishments, not as the first, but in your life and some of the achievements that you pride yourself. You know, when you die and there's an obituary, the first line you want written there after she was born or he was born, this is what they accomplished. Like, what has been your favorite moment as a Born Free, as someone who is a beneficiary of what the youth of 1976 fought for? I'll tell you mine. It's buying the BMW. I'm always going to bring this up. But I guess also just having a national audience, the fact that I'm well-traveled, I speak well, I can speak, you know, it's the smallest and the biggest things. But for me, it has to be the fact that I might not be the first in my family, but I am the youngest nationally to be on a lunchtime show in the whole country. I'm the youngest presenter, you know? And I feel like without that uprising, we wouldn't even be in this very place that we're at, you know what I mean? That's my proudest moment. What has been yours?
I think for me, it's leading the youth agenda at Nedbank.
Come on.
It's an amazing opportunity, amazing role. So I'm the head of young talent and I look after the bursaries, internships, graduate opportunities, work experience opportunities. And it's just a privilege to be able to impact so many lives and pay it forward the way that Nedbank does. So yeah, it's a big accomplishment.
Like you change people's lives.
I feel that I do.
And they don't even know it, but you do. That's incredible. Zane?
For me, it's the experience. The experience I bring from a work and career perspective. It's sponsorships. It's the experience I'm bringing to people who might not get to experience this. At least they experience it once in a lifetime. You might not get it again. So giving that experience to someone to show them that this is what you've got, and more so, people in their families can say that person has actually experienced this.
Yeah.
So it's more taking away from me what I've got and what people can look at and say, listen, actually, we're happy with what is done. We look up to it. And on the other side of it, it's all the youngsters that know me, that I grew up around. Their younger brothers that look to me and say, listen, this guy's had a choice. There was the choice of going the wrong route because of upbringing and situations, or there's the choice that he's taken. Look where he's gotten to. Look what he's achieved so far. And it's that choices that I've made that I look to and I say, listen, I'm making a difference when I start seeing these youngsters that are coming up and saying, thank you. I've achieved this and I just want to recognize what you've done for me.
Yeah. And for you?
It's getting my first job at the bank. I was sure.
Over the moon.
You know, I've never thought in my life that I'd ever work for a bank. Even when after graduating, because I started in engineering and then I moved to consulting. But it's always been my passion to say, I really want, you know. And then when I got my first job at Nedbank, oh my word, I couldn't, it was like I wanted to piss my life.
Oh.
Yeah. And the journey and the knowledge I've acquired in those years, up until now, it is so much knowledge. And the opportunities I've actually managed to give to young kids in Beckett, my township. You know, they're working today. They can come and say, I've bought a car. They can come and say, I did this. It is such an accomplishment for me. And yeah, and kids just looking up to you, when you, like, how can you drive a big car like that? I always say the name like you now. But,
M235.
fucking idea. But yeah, it is those kind of small things, the gestures that people give you and, and tap you at the back sometimes without, not physically, but those those words, those are my best accomplishments. Yeah.
And what I'm gathering from all of us is that our best accomplishment seems to be impact. What we are, like almost legacy, and what we could, it's not even about us. Maybe me, because I keep talking about sports cars and, but like at the end of it all, when it's said and done, I think it's the impact and like what we leave behind and how we're changing things similar to the kids of the uprising of 76. And the reason why I brought up our favorite accomplishments is because I want to talk about our biggest setbacks as well. Like, was there a time where you were like, damn, I feel like I'm messing up, or life is being really messed up, that I'm not seeing the light, I almost want to quit?
Yeah, for me, it is, I think we can all relate to financial.
Yeah.
Oh my word. Like I alluded to you earlier, that it became hard for me to go to school. And it had to be some form of very, very high sacrifices that needed to be done, for me to get my education. And I think another thing was that as I started working, one of the setbacks that I had was actually being financially generous. What can I say? Those you wanna please
Helping
you wanna
everybody.
help everywhere, and then you're like, oh my word, did I do the right thing? And then you find yourself like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. But you've already done it. And it takes some learnings in years later, because you find yourself now with a financial situation that you never wanted yourself in. Yeah. When you get this nice credit score, you are this graduate now, boom, boom, credit cards, they offer you left, right, and center, you are rich. And then you just, because you want to do that, you want to be, you don't want someone, maybe your auntie's child, you want to pay school fees.
Everybody must win.
Everybody, you want to be that person. And at the end of the day, though it's a good gesture, the setback is always there.
Sure.
But we outgrow it, you learn from it, and then you end up knowing how to manage things. And yeah, but
so insightful. Bonache, there are people who are your beneficiaries.
yes, correct.
Are you the beneficiaries?
You are the thing.
Mother Teresa up in here.
And yeah, it's
because I feel like our
catches
parents
on you at times, but
our parents also never taught us how to be selfish. In fact, selfish is it has a bad connotation to it.
Yeah.
But selfish is good to an extent.
Yeah.
You gotta be selfish, but not to a point where you hurt others. Your biggest setback?
For me, I think it was a hurdle rather. It was funding for tertiary. We just didn't have it. And, I had such talent and I knew I could excel, but I knew that I needed the funding. So ultimately, I was funded by the Tutuka Bursary Fund. And Nedbank is the biggest financial donor from a financial services perspective. So effectively, in a roundabout way, I was funded by Nedbank in order for me to complete my studies. So it was definitely that financial, and that's why it's such a full circle moment as well for me to be able to work in react talent and equip others with the funding they need to unlock their future.
Because if it wasn't for them helping your bag or saving your bag at that moment,
I don't know.
we couldn't argue that you'd be here having this conversation. You would have been one day, Lina, I used to, yeah.
Mine's a bit different to Boinerato. So mine goes to the point where in my second year of university, final exams, on a more personal level, I lose my grand. My grandma passes away.
Oh.
And I'm snap bang in it's exam time. So it's pick yourself up or
you failed.
drop out. And at the time it was, like you said, that was my fuel. I had lost my grand, but my fuel was, I need to see this out because she was there when I started this process. Getting to my third year, I lose my grandfather. So in 2 years of studying, I now need to pick myself up and go through this. And eventually I get through it, and my next new accomplishment I'm about to achieve, I lose my dad. So mine is completely off course from the financial side. I never grew up in a wealthy family, but we were within the means to provide me with a better education that other people had. So the financial side was sorted. it was the mental side of me that I needed to pick myself up.
Sure.
And you've got the support, but sometimes it's, put your big boy pants on and get through what you need.
Yeah.
And what I've done and accomplished up until then, I go back to saying it's not just about me.
Yeah.
It's not all for me. There's a whole line of people that I've done this for, and if only they were here in person to see it, but I carry all of them on myself.
Oh, but back to back grief is no joke, dude. Especially in those integral years where it's literally make or break.
It is.
Yeah. Well, similarly to yours, my biggest challenge, because I'm not even gonna say we didn't afford or we just afford. I come from a privileged background only because my mom was the first in her family to do certain things, which put her in a position where she was very capable of like focusing her finances to nurture herself things just so she can make sure that her pride and joy, which is me and her son, my brother, So finances is not a thing for me. I never dealt with loss in varsity, but what I did deal with is being queer and coming out to a Black family about it. And I'm so glad that now I can't even say Black family because it's families. Homophobia is a universal thing, right? And because of my mom's lack of understanding, I don't even want to say that she hated who I was. I don't even want to give her names. She just didn't understand it. And because of her misunderstanding, it brought anger. So when it was time for me to eventually come out, because I was tired of hearing about lobola and pregnancy, I was like, hey, yo, is it not clear? Then you have nothing to about. Eventually, I was like, she was also suspicious. And I also didn't want to keep treating my mom like she's an idiot. Yeah. I thought, this is about let me come out. Her reaction was like, have you lost your mind? In my house? Yes. And that makes it, I think I'm the first in my family to come out. I'm pretty sure that there were other queer people in my family, but I must be the first to own it, be proud of it, and make everybody else see that there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. But it took a lot for me to get there. Remember, I came out, my mom didn't understand it. She was impulsive, she was upset because she was taught certain things, and now she feels like, why is my kid this way? Did I do something wrong as a parent? And then she had to do a lot of unlearning. Like, no, you didn't do anything wrong. There is nothing wrong. Your kid is just different to the norm, in which that norm is shaping and shifting every single day. So it's interesting to see like what our setbacks were, despite being the first in our families. I want to talk about like the belief system, because it's so nice and easy to hear people saying, oh, did you see Zayn? Or did you see Lula? Did you see, it's affirmations, and then you have not even the people who are hating. Now it's your mind hating on your own self, where you're like, damn, am I biting more than I can chew? Should I just quit? What made you hold on? I know you mentioned that it's the people that you hold on your sleeve. Like there's a long line. What made you hold on for you, even with the moments of doubts in your own head?
So there's a saying that I hold true. If you believe you can, if you believe you can't, you're right.
Ooh, that's a goodie.
So that I always held on. But what kept me going was being the first. It's a whole different fire, because you're not just doing it to do it. You're doing it to be the first to do it. And that kept me strong and drove me hard to make sure that I'm actually the first and I achieve it. So, yeah.
Oh, how did you not succumb to your doubt?
I knew I didn't have backup. I am the backup.
This is the only option. There's no plan B.
Look, there's no other way. This is the way. This is the only way. And I'm the backup. I just can't. It can't happen. And that's it.
Yeah.
And that's all.
When it comes to our individual goals, right, it's very cool and easy to be like, once I do this, I've accomplished that. But not all of us feel that way. Some of us will have all of these milestones and still feel like, no, man, I'm not exactly where I want to be. Have you reached that milestone that will be like, this is a goal that I've wanted for a long time and I've achieved it? Or are you still yet to achieve it?
I'm still yet to achieve. But what I have achieved, I have no regrets on anything. I come from a dad and mom as well, who's taught me about being humble, integrity, and values and principles. And I'm a family man first and foremost. So if I've succeeded at home and my family's happy, I feel like I've reached success, because everything else, you take away everything else. Take away my job, take away
Your accomplishments.
take away everything I've got, take away every asset that I've got. My family's going to be there, regardless of whatever goes on or whatever happens. And as long as I've got my pack behind me, my wife, my daughter, and everyone else who's cheering me on, that's all I need for now. But on a personal level, on a career level, I'll unfortunately, I'll never be content, unfortunately. Because once I'm content, unfortunately, you become
Complacent. Yeah.
and with complacency, mistakes start creeping in.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, once the mistake starts creeping in, you start doubting yourself. So I don't allow myself for doubt. I don't allow doubt to creep in, but I just make sure that when I need to reset, I reset back to the pack behind me. Throw me to the wolves, I'll come back leading that pack.
Come on.
I think that-
Your belief system, how do you keep it intact despite the murmurs? Yeah.
I think achieving a goal, whatever that goal is, and for me it was certainly the chartered accountancy. It gave me that tangible assuredness and strong foundation that I'm capable, And sometimes self-belief feels hopeful or lofty or intangible. But once you've got a goal that you can hold on to, there's something about it that no one can take it away, and that it's there and it's yours. So, and that just fuels me onto the next goal. So that really just keeps me going. But I'm already halfway there, being a mom to an amazing little boy. So
Yeah, that's amazing. And for you, Mama, what is the thing that made you feel like, I'm achieving my goals, or I'm still yet to achieve my goals, maybe?
Sure. I've achieved a lot. I've achieved a lot in a very short space of time. So for me, I started working later on. So I never, after university, started working immediately. It never happened like that.
Okay.
So I had struggling years, sending CVs with no response. Am I going to be that graduate that sits at home,
Was
And then, yeah. But it was so amazing that I caught up so quickly, I don't know how. Hey, it just happened. I caught up so from what I believe, and in terms of where I am right now, and I'm still not done. I'm still busy, very busy.
Very busy.
I'm at work. I'm still grinding, and I'm almost there. And I remember we were in class at Henley, and one of the ladies said, you know what, it's not about being the CEO, it's about being comfortable. And I think that comfortable thing, we all had to define that comfortable. And we all have our own comfortable. And I feel that I'm not there yet.
But you're close. You're very close.
I'm almost to that comfortable.
Hey guys, I'm far. Eh? I'm far. I want to be like, you see Trevor Noah? The lesbian. I want to be Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah.
And after a few odd minutes, I think I've found my new best friends. You guys gotta call me after this. you guys make shit. And I'm about that money. But on a serious note, this was such an insightful conversation, a very interesting one from 4 different perspectives, which I feel like our audience can really learn from and take something away from it, right? But before we wrap it up, I want each and every one of you to give closing remarks to an audience member, someone who's watching YouthXConversations right now, who's feeling super inspired and who also wants to be a first in their family. Some words of encouragement, something that we can wrap up with.
Keep your head down, block out all the noise, and focus on you. And what you need to do, you know what you need to do, and just keep your end goal in sight and never lose sight of that. And you'll get there.
Lovely.
For me, it's dream with bravery. I know it's always nice to have representation and an example to follow and a blueprint, but sometimes you just don't have it. And sometimes you just got to be the first. So get on and do it.
Oh, lovely.
I would say it's possible, guys. anywhere you are, wherever you come from, whoever you are, it is possible. Personalize your journey. Don't listen to the rumors, block them out. Whatever that's been said around it, personalize your journey.
Yeah.
It is possible. It will happen.
And that brings us to an amazing episode, the end of it, about being the first in your family. If we're speaking to you, I'd love to hear your comment about how you're the first in your family right down below. In the meantime, it's been wonderful talking to you. Catch you in the next episode of YouthXConversations.
100, mate. I'll hit you up.